Welcome to Hochoka Podcast.
Fine arts, drama, music, movement, and creative writing. These programs are often the first to go when trimming the educational budget. Let's spend some time today with two artists who can convince us that when this happens, everything else suffers. Listen up. Hello, Midaki Api. Welcome to Hochoka here at the center of St. Joseph's Indian School's campus. I'm Scott Wooster, today's Hochoka host. Rejoining me from our earlier podcast on the arts and education are Dave Meyer II and Mark Zimmerman. Our conversation today delves into why the arts are so vital in a holistic education. Mark and Dave, welcome again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So I always say, I always think this, I don't know if I always say it, but I always think that we're blessed here. I've been here 31 years at St. Joe's. We've always had an art program. Not always a music program. It's tricky to get everything to work together, but we're talking today to a couple guys who are extremely passionate about art, and we want to talk about why it needs to be a part of an educational program, a holistic educational program. So in this country, more than 4 million elementary students receive no arts education, right? And you guys know that better than anybody. And we're talking about artists in residence, which you are, Mark, and you've had them into the school. And it's important to get guys like you and your wife into the schools to be able to teach that way. For those who aren't acutely aware of the fact that these kids are getting no art, let's begin a little bit about talking about the facts from both of you. From a guy that had, I believe you said 15 credits in art when you were in school?
High school alone.
In high school
15
alone.
15 semesters.
So nobody has more authority to talk about it than you guys. Talk to me about what those numbers actually mean.
You know, what comes to mind first is that next week I do a artist in residency in a school where I am the 1 week of art those kids get.
Wow. Yeah.
And
wow.
It's K through 5, and if I mess it up,
that's all they've got.
That's all they've got. So everybody succeeds. Period.
Yeah.
They're all going to learn to draw in a week.
Yeah.
Actually, they're all going to learn to draw in an hour.
Wow.
But they don't know it yet.
Boy, that's a lot riding on your shoulders. I mean, that's a little pressure, isn't it?
I've done it for years.
Yeah.
I can teach anyone to draw. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's a game changer. I mean, I watch them chewing on their tongues and squinting, and they're working. They are into it.
Yeah.
And it translates into the next subject and the next subject.
Yeah.
Success breeds success.
Okay.
And it's, yeah.
I want to have you both talk about that a little bit. How does that translate for somebody who might? We're all artists, one form or another. My medium is music and writing. I don't do so much the visual art, but you guys are visual artists and writers and musicians too. So we do. It's a passion for us. How can you convince somebody who's not just has to do it? How do you convince them that it's important? Mm-hmm. What facts do you bring out? What would you have to say?
You know, there's lots of studies and stats that can tell you. Things about how much better ACT scores are, or how much better students who have some time with art can do in their math and science and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But that aside, I mean, those things are measurable, but actually being in the classroom with these students, there's even more important things that are happening for them. I'll put it this way, that the students that come to my classroom and excel are a lot of times the students that are struggling in other classrooms. And they need a place where they're right, where they're the authority, where they feel safe and calm and comfortable.
Yep.
And I just think that makes a world of difference for those students. But beyond that, everyone's kind of a role model for everyone else. So it's contagious when this creativity happens. So it just enriches your life, really. I mean, I have ideas about education. But beyond that, I mean, to learn to see as an artist, that's going to be important when they're adults. It's going to be important forever.
Yep. Go ahead.
Well, he's talking about seeing as an artist, and that starts with concentration. It starts with focus. It starts with paying attention at a level that a lot of kids are not used to doing.
Yeah.
And boy, you bring them there for art, and you teach them to draw, and you teach them to focus that much. Pretty soon they're focusing in math class, and pretty soon they're focusing in history, and man, there's a 1-to-1 correlation between success in a drawing class and it's a powerful thing. In 25 years as a visiting artist, I have had, dozens of teachers say, I don't know what you did to my class, but they've never been that quiet. They've never been that focused.
Yeah.
And I assume it's normal that this is how you draw. You have to focus like that to draw.
Yeah.
If you're going to see and draw like an artist, you have to focus.
Yeah.
And they do, and because they want to do it.
Yeah.
And they'll shush each other. Someone starts to talk and their neighbors wheel on them and I'm working over here. You know? I don't know that happens in a math class.
No, you're
all
looking
the time.
You're looking to disrupt each other, right? To find a way to
playing around a little bit.
Crack
and
up.
They are not playing when they're drawing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing that there's no other discipline but drawing that does that, I don't think.
Okay. And do you see that too, Dave, in your classes?
How that concentration translates to other things, but I would just add to that it's the focus, but there's a strange balance between the freedom and the creativity and the play.
Yeah.
So it's work. Make no mistake, and that's one of the misnomers about art in general. It's like, hey, everybody, artwork's hard work. It's real work.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's also a little bit play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned the math teacher. I think often about art educators, and nothing against math teachers by any means, but I don't imagine that very many of them are going home at night and doing more math.
Right.
Like an art teacher
Right.
or a music teacher or poetry, the humanities.
Yeah.
The people who teach the humanities live them.
Right.
And that's important for students to see too. So it's I don't know if ethereal is the word, but there's some kind of magic happening here that is taking them. They're taking beyond the classroom.
Yeah. You remind me of a kid. I came into work this morning, and I walked through the health center, and there's always a crew of kids waiting to be seen by the nurses, and they love to sit and talk and visit. And when I walk through the door, we always have things to joke around about in the morning. And I walked by a kid this morning, and he's actually he drew the T-shirt design for this year's MMIR walk, and he was sitting on his bench waiting to be called to go in, and he was busy drawing, right? He was working on that, and it took everything he had. Nice kid, he's a friendly kid, and he's outgoing, but he was so into what he was doing that it took him a little bit to look up. And so it's that concentration that you're talking about.
I mean, if you have a second for this extra part, but the arts teach you introspection. I feel like kids who can take the time to make an artwork like that was happening for him.
Yep.
Understanding yourself better helps you understand the world better.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I see happening when I see students like you're describing.
Yeah, and I love that because that's exactly what we're talking about. That you can talk about it. It increases ACT scores. There's facts that you could give, but that introspective piece where art might teach you that to look at things a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. How many times do you hear a kid in a math class? And again, here we are. I'm not putting out math or science or whatever, but every kid at some point has asked, what is this going to do? How is this going to serve me? What do I do with this? Why do I need to know this? I don't know. Do you see those questions in art in the same way?
Kids, especially young kids, want to do it.
Yeah.
If you don't get to them young, like here, they're lucky. They're getting art instruction. But they get to 5th, 6th, 7th grade. If they don't know how to draw and no one's shown them how, they start telling you, I can't draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just sad because everybody can draw.
Yeah.
Drawing is a learnable skill, and you might as well know how.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is, I can't render reality the way I now conceive of it. You know, the kindergartner's perfectly happy drawing symbols, you know, but his mom's head is not a circle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
But you know, and they get to 6th grade and they're like, my mom's head's not a circle.
Right.
You know, that's a problem. I'm still drawing circles, and I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And they just need someone to say, well, look at it this way.
Yeah.
And it opens doors.
Oh, I like the way you said that. Let's take that down. Let's micro that and just talk about your personal experiences. What have you seen that with a kid who discovers something that is just lit up by art, may have not been there before in their lives? Just share a little bit.
So Mark talked about in his last question was a little bit about a student who wants to draw, and they hit that 5th and 6th grade mark, and there's this self-consciousness, and they don't want to be seen, they don't want to fail in front of their peers, things of that nature. But then the other thing I see is I see those type of students, and then the ones that also are sort of excelling, but there's such a fear of making a mistake.
Okay.
And something that I teach over and over again, repeat over and over again. So you get this mistake in your artwork, this mistake in your quotes. You look at that and you react to that. Yep. And then that helps grow your art to somewhere it wouldn't have been otherwise. Mm-hmm. So had you not made that mistake, the art wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah.
And of course, I say that differently to little kids than I say it to big kids. But that's my message. You know, rather than scrap this artwork, let's just look at this a little longer. You know, rather than ditch that one.
Yep.
And to segue just for a half second here, when you're teaching, and I imagine it's similar in the artist in residence situation, a lot of times you don't get feedback in real time. You know, when you're teaching a creative field, I feel like, so you're wondering, like, am I making a difference to this kid?
Yeah.
So I'm making a long path to this, but one of my students who, she did good work, she concentrated, she seems to enjoy herself, but she wasn't going to school after this to be an artist. Like, it wasn't her passion.
Yeah.
But she's an 8th grade graduate. We're going through the line, shaking hands, and she holds onto my hand a little longer, a little extra handshake, and says, "Mr. M, I've used this in lots of my life. When you make a mistake, you can find other ways to make it, to make that something it wouldn't have been otherwise." It almost brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, it has to. It has to, and it should. I mean, and you talked about that too, about how that impact on you guys as teachers when they are touched in that way, it has to touch you. I mean, that's your goal. That's when that's the sweetness of the whole thing. So right. That's great. I think that had to be such a big moment for you.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess I'm doing all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have a relationship with her for years in that room, and then to have it pay off in that way is big, and to have it pay off for her is what brings you the reward. And yours is different, right?
It is, in that I'm in and out very often, but sometimes I'm there a month, and I see some growth. But I'll say that I'm real careful not to even entertain mistakes. We don't make them.
Yeah.
Not in our class. We have our own style, and if we all had the same style, no one would care. That we're all different, and we're all going to draw different. We're going to make our own piece. That needs to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And so I watch a lot of kids kind of say, okay, yep. There's a right answer in physics or chemistry or math.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of answers here, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And they need to know that I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and get comfortable with that.
Yeah. It's the reality. I mean, why pretend otherwise?
Yeah.
So,
and possibly because your time with them is so encapsulated, maybe it's a little more intense than 4 years of working with the same kid and them coming to your classroom every day. Maybe they get lit up faster and you get the rewards faster. Possibly,
I think they do, and they confer on me this expert status. I walk in, here's Mark. He's an artist, and they're like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah,
he's not a teacher. He's an artist.
Yeah,
and they're on board with, okay, show me what you do.
Yeah,
and so that's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
And what are you, Dave?
the artist or the teacher?
Yeah.
In all things, I consider myself the artist first. It's the way I am as a husband and a father and a teacher. Art informs all of it.
You lead with art.
Then your students are lucky.
So we're about out of time, but I don't want to forget to ask you this one question, and I'm not even sure what this is. So I think this is going to be very interesting. I'm not sure you apparently you do. Okay, you inspired this, and I'll want to hear from you too, Dave, on this. But it has to do with a personal practice of yours that edifies your artistic work. Okay, can you tell us about your running list of quote fuzz joys, unquote?
Fuzz joys.
Yes.
First, I have to give credit for the term fuzz joy to Bonnie Fleming, who is a very gifted photographer and artist from Rapid City.
Okay.
And so she coined the phrase, and it's kind of the opposite of a pet peeve.
Okay. Oh,
so
sure.
It's this little thing that always brings you joy.
Yeah.
And the key is to notice. And so if you start making a list, you start to notice that, grass with frost crunching under your boot on the way out the door in the morning, and that's cool. That's a fuzz joy.
Yeah.
The dog that buries her head in your lap because she wants her ears rubbed. That's a fuzz joy.
Yeah.
Cats sunning themselves in the sun.
Yeah.
Fuzz joy.
The little things.
But you got to notice it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it goes unappreciated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's noticing that's the powerful part of a fuzz joy.
Yeah.
And I'm indebted to Bonnie for fuzz joys. Yeah, they're great.
And do you use that in your teaching? Do you tell kids about the fuzz joys?
I really don't. I maybe have missed an opportunity. I better start bringing that to bear.
I think so. I mean, gratitude. It's an exercise in gratitude.
It is. An exercise in gratitude is exactly what it is.
But also specifically to the arts, like you said, just a way of noticing things that somebody else might not notice in order to put in their art.
Yeah, for me, it's step outside in the Black Hills and actually listen to the wind in the pines.
Yep.
And or it's drive across South Dakota in the spring and hear that fluting meadowlark.
Yeah,
that's a fuzz joy.
Yeah. Yep. You probably got it today.
I did.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Even at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, still could hear it. Yeah, with the window down. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah, no.
Through the window.
Yeah.
If they're right by the.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And Dave, anything to add to that?
Well, thank you for explaining that concept. I love that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think for me personally, there's a couple of things, but and those things you mentioned, I mean, that's huge. Like petting my dog before I leave for work. But it's specifically for me for my art practice. What I just always kind of strive for and just feels so fulfilling is I call it. I mean, it's called flow state. Like when I get into the state of mind where I don't realize how much time has gone by, and every decision is the exact right decision. Oh my gosh, that feels so good.
Yep.
And yeah,
and then you come to and you're hungry and you're thirsty, and you don't know where you are.
Exactly. And it's And then you wait a day and then look at the art.
Yeah.
Because it looks totally different.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I guess I would say my fuzz joy is just the art, the creative process in general. Like just having a chance to be creative.
I love it. Well,
I'm going to add hugs from your brother.
There we go.
It doesn't get better.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Thank you for the fuzz joys for sure.
Yeah.
And use that. You should use that with the kids too.
I should. I better start.
Share all of that. I appreciate you both being here to talk about something that is so important. There's a lot of cuts in art programs, other humanities programs, and at a time when we think it's important, I think we need to get the word out that it's important for all people, and especially for our kids to grow up with that learning. We had it. They deserve it too. So thank you both for being on the show. And we'll also say thank you to our audience for joining us here at Ho-Chokeh at the center of St. Joseph's Indian Schools campus, where we talk about issues that are central to Native American education today. Until next time, stay centered.